As a friendly reminder, I do the best research I possibly can on these videos. I want to emphasize that it is never my intent to offend or upset anyone that may have been involved with these cases or videos. My aim is just to educate and spread awareness about these topics. All of the information I have gathered has been from several different sources online. I understand that all of my information may not be correct. So please feel free to correct me in the comments below. I in no way have intentions of spreading false information. On January 4, 2005, JANELLE HORNICKEL and her boyfriend, Michael Wamsley, both 20, were heading home to their apartment in Omaha, Nebraska, when they got caught in a snowstorm. Over the course of the evening, the couple made a series of bizarre, frantic phone calls to 911, asking for help in finding their way home.
Hi, I'm in Omaha, like in a Mandalay apartment complexes. There's a lot of Mexicans and African Americans from there all dressed up in like these cool outfits. Your phone's breaking up. My address at Mandalay is 7524. The address for this is in the trees right above those complexes. After you're that. There's no power here. They're taking the cars. They're hiding them in the trees. Hiding what in the trees? The cars. In the trees. In the trees. How many are out there? 100. 200. Police are on the way. The police are on the way though, okay? Okay, how long do you think it'll be? Because it's time to get out of there because of the snowy conditions. Yes, on the helicopter to go over the trees. The helicopter cannot fly in this kind of weather. I don't know how to get out of here. There's lots of people in here. I can't find a way out anywhere, ma'am. We even have a pickup and we're trying to find a way we can push through even. There's nothing. Is it people moving it because of the snow? Well, they're hiding them in the trees and breaking them down and stuff. Hiding what in the trees? The cars. How are they getting the cars in the trees? There are spaces in the cars and they're breaking them down, taking the tires off, moving the pieces of metal around and putting them in there. In the trees? In the trees. What's your name? JANELLE HORNICKEL.
However, hindi ma-pinpoint ng mga pulis yung kanilang location because at that time, Nebraska didn't have a 911 GPS system to track cell phones. At one point, Michael said they had come across hundreds of bystanders who didn't speak English. JANELLE said that the other people were taking cars apart and putting them in the trees. You will be able to hear it on the 911 calls that was made public by the authorities. And itong mga 911 calls na pinablicize ng mga otoridad ay hindi yung buong call. Puro snippets lang yung calls na nirelease ng mga authorities. The couple also left their truck, which still had a half tank of gas, warm clothes, and Michael's cell phone. It was minus 10 degrees with the wind chill. Kasi nga may snowstorm na parating So puzzled yung mga otoridad kung bakit umalis ang sasakyan si Janelle at si Michael to think na halos kalahati pa yung gas nila and mas warm doon sa loob ng sasakyan. The next day, Michael's body was found, and 6 days later, the authorities found Janelle's body. Both of them was frozen to death. The 911 dispatchers who received the couple's phone calls that night had no idea what was happening. As you've heard, medyo bizarre yung sinasabi ni Michael at ni Janelle. But authorities now know that the couple was high on crystal meth, a super concentrated form of methamphetamine. Meth can cause erratic, violent behavior and hallucinations. In the long run, it can cause extreme brain damage, coma, and even death. A small amount of meth, 90% pure, was found in the couple's truck, and both tested positive for meth at levels that indicate they had taken the drug 2 or 3 days before they called 911. Janelle was a college junior at Creighton University in Omaha, and she seemed to have it all. She was a member of a sorority, she was in a business fraternity, and she also had a job. Her family said she was a star student and athlete. She was in the drama club, sang in the choir, and was a cheerleader. Janelle had known Michael since the 7th grade. But Michael Wamsley was different. He had dropped out of high school, and his older brother Chris says he suspected his brother was using drugs and even confronted him about using crystal meth. According to Chris, quote-unquote, honestly, I'm pretty sure he's tried it before. He has made comments to me about trying different drugs. Chris says he gave his brother a warning around Thanksgiving. He told him, quote-unquote, whatever you're on, Michael, think about it in the long run. Nung unang tumawag sa 911 si Michael at si Janelle, they were not immediately suspected to be drug users. They were even pulled over in the small town of Geneva at 7:30 p.m. that evening for failing to signal. Sinabi nila sa police officer na nag-pull over sa kanila na they were lost, and they received a warning ticket and directions to the highway. Michael and Janelle were 120 miles from their apartment in Omaha. 5 hours later at 12:30 a.m. and 23 miles from home, their truck spun off the road. Janelle's cell phone signal was coming from Sarpy County, Nebraska, and not Omaha. However, 911 still sent police to the Mandalay and found nothing. Kasi nga wala naman sila doon. Kung nawala si Janelle at si Michael sa ibang state, they might have been found. But Nebraska is one of just 9 states during that time that does not have the most up-to-date 911 GPS tracking system for cell phones, so operators could not pinpoint their location. At 1:05 a.m., Michael called 911.
76 at Pacific. About that area. 76 at Pacific. Okay, is that by old gravel, like your gravel pump? Oh, please help us, sir. I'm trying to figure out where you're at, because you've got Saunders County, you're out of my area. Are you close to Omaha? We're right up from Pacific. I mean, we're not even like 3 blocks. Okay, let me get you that. We're going to freeze to death if we don't get Billy out here now. Are you in a car? No, we're walking right now. We lost our transportation. Hang on a second, let me get you to Omaha State Patrol. Hang on. Okay. Come on, honey. Let's walk.
He said that he and Janelle had left their truck, but he still insisted they were near the Mandalay apartments. The dispatcher told the police unit had been sent and could not find them. Ang sabi ni Michael, quote-unquote, they need to come further south. Further south, open the gates. However, there are no gates in the area, but still, another police unit was sent to the area around the apartment complex. By this time, several operators in 3 counties were talking to each other to figure out kung nasaan nga yung couple. And by this time, they suspected that drugs were involved because yung mga sinasabi nila was out of this world. It doesn't make sense. At 1:45 a.m., Michael called again. Knowing how cold it was outside, the dispatcher urged him to return to his vehicle. He said it was quote-unquote rolled over on its top, and the dispatcher feared that it could be leaking gasoline. But the truck was actually upright, just off the road. Dahil nga high si Michael, so yung mga sinasabi niya doesn't make sense at that time. Michael also said that they had encountered people pero hindi sila nagsasalita ng English. According to Michael, we've tried, we've asked for help, we've begged. At around 2 a.m., tumawag ulit sila sa 911 and they had stumbled on a small shack. Worried about their safety in the sub-zero temperatures, the same dispatcher asked him to stay there. She also asked Michael if he had done any drugs that night. Michael said no. At 3 a.m., Michael called back and said he was going to walk some more and left the shelter of the shack. The last call came at 4:20 a.m. The couple had been out in below freezing temperatures now for at least 4 hours. Michael's last call was short, less than 2 minutes.
I've just escaped. We're trying to find you. You were in a shed. Now, you're out walking again? Yeah, it's okay now. There's nothing in charge tomorrow. Everything's gonna fit. Well, where are you at? We can get you some help. Okay.
Ang sabi ng nanay ni Janelle, she had no idea that Michael allegedly used drugs. She said that Mike didn't drink and Mike didn't use drugs. Janelle's mother said that she can't imagine what could have happened. She saw her daughter in the early part of the evening on New Year's Eve and says she didn't notice anything strange. According to Janelle's mother, They had normal sleep patterns. They played games with the kids. But according to Captain Rolly Yost of Sarpy County, who led the investigation into the couple's disappearance, he suspects that something went wrong later that night. Kumbaga, earlier that night, Janelle and Michael were normal, pero later that night, maybe, yung tinake nila na illegal substance kicked in. Ang sabi pa ni Captain Rolly Yost na they know where they were. They know parties they were at, and they know there were drugs at those party locations. Sinabi din ni Captain Rolly na Janelle might have tried meth for the very first time at one of those parties. He also has a theory about the quote-unquote people that Michael mentioned in his phone call to 911. According to Captain Rolly, it's possible that Michael saw the cattle, hears the breathing of the cattle, and thought that they were people, that these people aren't helping him. He's calling out for help and they were not responding. According to Janelle's mother, she doesn't blame Michael for her daughter's demise. He respected her. He was always kind to her. And she doesn't know what happened. Yung mga authorities na naghahanap kung saan galing yung methamphetamine na nakuha ng mag-boyfriend na si Janelle at si Michael, arrested a mother and son who live in Kearney, Nebraska, and charged them with possession of methamphetamine. Janelle and Michael attended a party at the house of Judith Morel, 48 years old, and Micah Morel, 19, on New Year's Eve. Authorities have not said whether they believe that the Morels supplied Michael and Janelle with methamphetamine. The mother and daughter refused to talk to the authorities. Ang sabi ng doktor na nag-examine sa bodies ni Michael at ni Janelle na isa sa mga epekto ng meth ay the person could feel very hot, which would mean the person wouldn't dress appropriately for the weather. Siguro at that time, hindi nararamdaman masyado ni Janelle at ni Michael yung lamig. Yes, nararamdaman nila na malamig, pero dahil nga disoriented sila, they don't know what to do. It was apparent by listening to the tapes of their 911 calls that Janelle and Michael were confused, disoriented, and hallucinating as they pleaded with the 911 dispatchers to send help. A statement issued by Hornickel's family read, quote-unquote, Janelle had a beautiful life. She touched many lives in her short time here. Her death is a tragic loss to us. We want to thank all of those who helped in the search and gave up their time so our daughter could come home. We want to use our experiences from this tragedy in a positive way to help benefit others. That's it for today's video. Please stay safe, stay home. I hope you learned something from this video. God bless you all.